I just want to make sure it's not too loud on that part. This one's really slow. I'm good, thanks. How are you? Yes, we are hoping for that, yes. Someone's new to class. Just for people to report the facts. Yeah, in doing so, it should help the children that are in the hands of sick, murderous pedophiles if they actually report the facts and not just cast them off as conspiracy. They got away with that for years. Yeah, many have already died. Some are still being held hostage, so we're doing the best we can. You're welcome. Thank you. We're going to read some more from the Word. Should we just start chapter 9 over? Yeah, that'd be a good idea. Cheers. We're just finishing that one. That's a coffee and black tea combo. We have some water. Cheers. It's so good. I do. I love that vanilla chai tea. It kind of gives me a, I don't know, gingerbready kind of a warm, yeah, that kind of feeling, you know. The word rejected, page 106. He was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. Yes, hello. For that one, yeah, no, we actually have not done one. You ready? Say when. Page 314. Relief, aggravation, cheerfulness, dejection, melancholy, mirth, merriment, hilarity, exhilaration, laughter, merrymaking, heyday, rejoicing, marriage bells, euphorcine, euphoricine. Yeah, kind of euphoric. This is euphoricine. Hopefulness. That's funny. For real. Page 314 in our thesaurus book. That's funny. A lot of good words on here. Alright, so there you go for word of the day. Blanket. Alright, page 106. Wow, that sun is really warm. He was made in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. The Lord came into the world, and with him grace, church, sacraments, and mission. All that he brought, all that he is, and does, and says, the whole stupendous preparation, his offer and his armament, that is the world he made. For the reference in the text is not to the old creation, which certainly was God's, but to the new, essential, and final creation, which took place when he came into the world. When a man becomes a Christian, it happens simply and solely through the Lord's love. Creative love makes him what he is. Only one thing is needed to complete the new creation. That man should not refuse grace. He must let himself be taken up into God's creation in order to become part of the new creation. Everything is there, everything is ready. grace, faith, love, hope, and mission. The new life is prepared in every detail. The framework and armament is complete. The spring of a new life is flowing. The world that leads an unreal life could have found real life within the new framework, found its true creation. Like a shapeless lump of dough in a mold, it had only to let itself receive the new form. But that grain of agreement is precisely what is wanting. The world refuses to correspond to the new form. It does not want to be what it was intended to be. It refuses to be the world of the Word and refuses to belong to the Word. It will not respond or correspond to creative grace. That is why the whole new creation runs like a machine that has nothing to work upon. As the world well knows, the new creation involves being transformed by God. But what it does not realize is that the transformation is accompanied by supreme joy, a joy which, though spiritual, does not send the flesh away empty. It only sees the negative aspect, death, and the renunciation of everything it loves and clings to. In the eyes of the world, the one and only good is whatever pleases it, gives it joy. The rainbow colors from this is shining the way it's messing with my eyes, and I keep forgetting what line I'm on. Alright, hold on. But what it does not realize is that the transformation is accompanied by supreme joy, a joy which, though spiritual, does not send the flesh away empty. It only sees the negative aspect, death, and the renunciation of everything it loves and clings to. In the eyes of the world, the one and only good is whatever pleases it, gives it joy, is agreeable to it. It looks at everything from that one standpoint. In the new creation, the center of gravity is transposed into God. The weight is shifted. The true God is God, and God is true joy. But the world does not want it so, for the world is flesh, nothing but flesh, whereas the new creation is spirit, in which the flesh too finds its proper place. Yeah, it's almost the Galileo kind of syndrome when someone rejects a truth that is the truth for so long and they laugh it off as conspiracy. It does not want to realize that transformation or the truth. Right, and it does not realize that the transformation is accompanied by supreme joy. Set yourself free. Let the truth set you free. Yeah, lift that burden. But what happens is when accepting that truth means you're going to jail. You're like, so you don't have a choice, right? Because you don't want to go to jail. Yeah, that's rough, huh? That means accepting someone you loved and trusted is a sick fuck. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, and you don't want to do that, especially when it means believing someone like me who you hate and have actually targeted and wanted to kill and turn your head to us being killed, actually. Hi. Unbelievable. Oh, I can't even tell you. It's happened a few times over the decades. It's just part of the environment, circumstances really. Trust me, we are not special or victims by circumstance or any kind of talent or really anything, just... Oh, it is, but that would be by circumstance then, right? Yeah, it's not by any special talent or anything like that. No, just kind of that rock in that spot, I guess. Poor kids, huh? Yeah, we're already dead. We're watching from the great beyond, wondering when folks around here are going to wake the fuck up and actually report the facts. It would help if others would do that, so that's why we have the systems in place, and then when people within those systems are playing fuckery and helping the sickos, trafficking, fraud, it's been being exposed all throughout people in our state departments. And when you want to talk about SSRIs and overprescribing of that, targeting people. Yeah, how they've been fucking with people is absolutely disgusting. Yeah, we've been horrified for quite a while. I can't believe it's 2026. It's amazing, actually, to still be alive and witnessing and even trying to bring forth understanding by rambling or keeping silent. Day by day, moment to moment, It's amazing. So, yeah, a lot of people have a hard time accepting that truth. It's like a machine. It has nothing to work upon. It won't respond or correspond to that creative grace. No, it's ugly. Anyone could have done that. A monkey could have done it. No, I don't think it's funny. Right, and then all of a sudden someone that they're trying to promote does the same exact thing. Actually, even worse. And they just want to praise it and give it a blue ribbon, like, oh my gosh. Something you've never seen before, isn't it incredible? So special. It's fucking disgusting. We've been watching it for years and proving it over and over again every day for years while we wait. Hell and wait, for them to help our children. No, they can't talk and tell you the abuse they've been going through. They were vaccine injured in 2013, and that was years after going through bullshit trying to get them to wake up to simple facts. If you go back and you'll see what was going on with the vaccines, bioweapons, overprescribing of SSRIs, the psychos at the main parent federation. They got upset. We called them Hitlers, started calling us Nazis. No, they're the Nazis, crying about fucking dogs. Unbelievable. Prozac helped them when mommy died. Okay, so what does that have to do with overprescribing these things to children and the increase of a lot of things? Organ damage, blood clots. Doesn't seem to be helping hyperactivity at all. Yeah, exactly. It's so sickening to a lot of us. This shit was old in the 90s. And if you go back and you'll see how many prescription drugs have been getting rolled out and how that's just become a business. Every single day, some are taken off the market and new ones roll out. It's just another stupid fucking cough drop. Get a life. Grow up. Wake the fuck up. They're not gonna. What's that? Oh yeah, we were just watching that. How horrible. Yeah, the case with the little boys saw their mom get shot. So class was just wanting to touch base on that really quick. A lot of people work in those lines of business, and some kind of things people don't think about in those situations. Right, you see like the horrible murder, the whole thing. So there are some in class who were talking about the children, right? One was 7, another was younger. They're talking about these things, right? One of them asked the other brother to call the mother because the dad threw his tablet at his back and it scared him. And he said, will you call mama? Right, so she came over to get them and he got pissed off and shot and killed her. So now you have these 2 young children that just witnessed that. And then people in class, they don't really talk about it on that video, but people who do these things start bringing it up. Right, those kids start to grow up if you've done this long enough. Sometimes they feel guilt. Right, oh, if I had never called mom, or depending on the situation, they start to feel guilt if I hadn't, whined, or maybe, right, whatever it is. Right, and sadly, some kids get beaten to death in those situations. Right, he got a tablet thrown at his back and said, call mom. Right, and because that dad saw the brother had access, right, because they were saying something about the Wi-Fi. There was no Wi-Fi there, but for some reason, I think the older brother had it on his tablet because of the Starlink or whatever it is. What do you call that? The straight talk? Something like that. Right, so he probably didn't think they had any way to call mama. Right, and then when he realized they did, and that is probably, live, and she had already called, I think she called 911 or something, or was that after? Yeah, anyways, the whole situation was absolutely horrible. So people are talking about, now after the fact, obviously, mom's dead, dad's going to jail, they're going to go into whatever care. People start to argue, medicate, not to medicate. Those, right, he seemed really calm, collected for going through that, to be able to sit there, almost being like lightly interrogated in a way. Has to be hard for that little boy. Right, so then they get put into the system, and then some want to medicate them, saying they've been through a traumatic, just being through that, they check these boxes and start medicating these kids, whether it seems they need it or don't need it. Yeah, we won't even get into the arguments that go on behind the scenes with that stuff, and then you have people just using these kids as little pawns to try to prove points and over-medicate them. Yeah, of course, they're winning out every time over the other options. I know, just look at what the adults did when you mentioned a mindful class. Huh? Doing activities, things, right, to keep your mind off of something. Right, I mean, that you don't have to just medicate them all the time just for being through a traumatic experience, right? That doesn't deem or mandate, right? But they do, I'm telling you, they check these boxes and they start mandating stuff off of experiences or statements. Yeah, it gets pretty sad and disturbing with some of those cases. Yeah, Toucan Sam, and if you've been doing this long enough, you understand the frustration and why we're not going to talk about that really very long. And then when you remember what's going on here with our own children, we try not to personally identify too much, as they say, but it's hard not to, And thank goodness we work with a lot of good people who help us day by day with that. Yeah, whether they're present or not present, sometimes it stays with you, like an experience or seeing a movie. Thank you. Hopefully, yeah, so that's all we can do is hope and pray. Someone was wondering why when we said that's what, that people report the truth and the facts. And then this was perfect for that. Yeah, it went together really well. And it just segued itself. Thank you. I love you too. It only sees the negative aspect, death and the renunciation of everything it loves and clings to. Thank you very much. In the eyes of the world, the one and only good is whatever pleases it, gives it joy, is agreeable to it. It looks at everything from that one standpoint. In the new creation, the center of gravity is transposed into God. The center of gravity. Yeah, we love that class. The center of gravity class is a really fun class. Really cool demonstrations. Yeah, those are fun. Weebles. Yeah, that was fun. Anyways, in the eyes of the world, the one and only good is whatever pleases it, gives it joy, is agreeable, and remember, trash or treasure, is agreeable to it. It looks at everything from that one standpoint. And the new creation, the center of gravity, is transposed into God. The weight is shifted. The true good is God, and God is true joy. But the world does not want it so, for the world is flesh, nothing but flesh. Whereas the new creation is spirit, in which the flesh too finds its proper place. So the world knew him not. One cannot recognize God as long as one stands between one's eye and God. So someone is reiterating, yes, something that's funny. They said it is funny, they said, well, now it's not funny. Right, so sometimes when it's a non-binary, or what do they call There's no bias. It's kind of a stranger. You're going to a comedy show. Right, but sometimes, depending on your body language, attire, topic, right, that triple beam scale as far as feeling offended or not offended, or funny, not funny. Yeah, once it gets too offended now, nothing is funny and you want to leave. Right, you might have found it funny 5 minutes ago, but now that you've seen and heard him say that, you can't even, you don't even want to listen to anymore. Especially if they have those kind of views. Did you hear what they said about them butt fucking the children? Well, they are a comedian. I know. They say it's best to try to be positive and find humor. I mean, if you're able to, right? It's not easy all the time. It's really easy to slip into hopeless depression and to feel like there's absolutely no one that can hear your prayers, your thoughts. I can see what's going on in your four walls. But yeah, over the years, that hope has been increasing through communication, programs. Yeah, the programs are a lifesaver. I was 18, year 2000, when I was put on a lot of the programs. I was a very troubled alcoholic, teen, OUIs, getting in trouble. Nothing violent, no drugs, just OUIs, shoplifting, being stupid. A lot of tickets. Minor infractions. But yeah, I mean, you can check it. It is quite a rap sheet, but I don't think you'll find, nothing violent, any drugs really. Maybe a few, but nothing major, Like, I think one time, like, not having something in the proper container, like something stupid like that, Right. Yeah, so anyways, we were put on the programs when we were 18. And when you see the associations in the history with the child molesters and, some that lived with us and went to prison for a long time and some getting away. I mean, it's a pretty crazy scenario when you think about it. Yeah, and the one that went to jail, I don't think he did anything. And when you actually start to look into it and why we think that, you go, oh, well, that makes total sense. Yeah, no, any rational person, if you look into the facts, you'll see exactly what we're talking about. Yeah, it would have been, and you can look and check the records, 90, 91, 92. Someone who has access to my medical records. I fractured my shoulder. I was about 10. Was I 9? Thank you. Was I 9 or 10? I think I was 10. I think I just turned 10, right? Check the date. See, my birthday's January 23rd. Yeah. Anyways. I could be way off. Yeah, but I was around. You can check all the stuff going on, around that time. And the drug trafficking and child molesters. Yeah, the Oprah photographers. Yeah, the drugs were being trafficked in from the Middle East. Golf courses. Oh yeah, overdoses. Granolas. I know. I was just a kid. What the hell do you want me to do about it? I always feel like, what the hell do you want me to do about it? It's either the drugs or the vaccines or someone telling them what words they can and cannot say. Oh, now we can't say baby. Who said that? Your dad. Your dad said we can't say baby because your son doesn't like it. Dear Lord. Well, you remember back when we were kids and he said he was going to sign me up to be a football player for the NFL. I was going to be a linebacker. Okay, we'll see how that never panned out. Okay, so they can say shit. I know, and it seems like they exacerbate. It's either the racial stuff, right? And they'll purposely say systemic racist shit. And it pisses people off on purpose, and then that just gives them steam to target us. Right. So it's usually that or the recycling stuff that will purposely be really wasteful. Yeah, like overly wasteful. Say really smug comments, just asshole white supremacy type stuff, and just repeating it. I know, and it's like the ones that make them think it's cool, right, that say it amongst themselves in these little groups that are all in on it, that make them think it's funny and cool. So when they're like boxed in minds in a world, they think they're getting all these pats on the back and that they're helping the cool people. Like, yeah, you're helping a bunch of nasty fucking sluts and drug dealers. And most of those people in those little groups that are making you think it's cool don't want you to go along with it. And when you do, they're like, what the fuck, dude? I know, I'm telling you, we've been doing this our whole lives. Like, literally, I'm 44. I was 10 years old watching these scenarios take place with fucking drug traffickers and child molesters and granolas getting upset. The ghost and alien stories and how that gaslighting gets used by the traffickers and criminals to confuse the Marie Barones. No way. But everybody loves Raymond. Fuck you. I don't like that, Robert. God damn it. I gotta start wearing a skirt. Just forget it and let me read my book, please. Help the fucking kids already. You can do that by reporting the facts. Alrighty. So the world knew him not. One could not recognize God as long as one stands between one's eye and God. As long as the center of gravity is in one's eye and only sees God through that eye, God is regarded as a means to the satisfaction, cruder or more refined, of one's eye, and is included for that reason in God. Excuse me, I skipped a line. And is included for that reason in one's calculations and plans. Do that, and you could not know God. God is love. Well, I mean, when your plan is to fly by the moment, I'm not sure exactly. So, goof on me all you want. Yeah, we're already dead. I'm not really sure. The goal, we're it, man. We've met our goals. We're doing it. Yeah, represent Queen. She was raised in Brooklyn. Anyways, God is love, and only those who love recognize God. a God who only existed for my sake would be no God. It is also possible to use God as an eratz. Cool word of the day. Eratz. ERSATZ. Ersatz. Let's look that word up. Alright, it is also possible to use God as an ersatz when a man loses what is dearest to him, the one thing he lived for. He is left with a great void in his soul, and in his emptiness he calls to God. He wants God to fill the void. If the need is real, it may lead to God and to the knowledge of God. Yeah, people say that all the time. Oh, they're too happy, so yeah, they haven't, right, they haven't lived for, let's see, when a man loses what is dearest to him. So yeah, they haven't learned that lesson. They haven't lost. They don't know. Yeah, they're too happy. Quite the contrary. Someone like that may have lost probably way more than he could ever imagine. And that could be, sometimes, it creates the, right. Not everyone is as disgruntled as you. And you don't have to try to bring everyone else down to that level, All right. Thank you. You're welcome. When a man loses what is dearest to him, the one thing he lived for, he is left with a great void in his soul. And in his emptiness, he calls to God. Yeah, because I myself personally, and others who I have talked to who seem to just have that joy and love for life, and they have lost a lot and have had a lot of pain. And they recognize that it is those things that almost help them burst through that dissenting bubble of, what do they call that? Victimhood. Yeah, victimhood. Yeah, and it brings forth a sense of appreciation and gratitude for life. Yeah, and it's good to care for yourself. I mean, these days, yeah, it costs money, right? Good to have resources for that. When a man loses what is dearest to him, the one thing he lived for, he is left with a great void in his soul, and in his emptiness he calls to God. He wants God to fill the void. If the need is real, it may lead to God and to the knowledge of God. But it may equally be that the God involved is only a passing ersatz, to be forgotten the moment something worldly comes to fill the void. And in that case, to the world fails to recognize him. Whenever God is just a function of the I, he remains unknown, even if he is the function of a religious need. For man is quite capable of imagining a God to satisfy his religious needs, in the same way that bread satisfies his hunger, or another person satisfies his desires. A God of that kind is paid a sort of tax. He is allotted a precisely defined, limited place in life, and he is allowed to occupy the little void one has prepared for him, with the proviso that in certain circumstances it may have to be curtailed. To receive God in that way is really a form of ignorance. We'll do a few more paragraphs. This non-recognition of God is better described as refusal or rejection. Men do not receive God because they have no desire for him. They only desire what they make and shape themselves. They renounce everything above their heads, the pursuit of which requires that they should be enlarged and expanded. They do the same in all love. At first, they seem willing enough to expand in every direction, in marriage, for example, but as soon as the demand grows serious, they draw back. As soon as men approach God with their own standards, their own weights and measures, their own demands, one cannot really say that they receive God. For to receive God means to make room for God, whatever he may be or bring. It may only be a call to be prepared, a vague, indefinite, and indefinable demand. On the other hand, it may be a visible and intelligible task. It may be a single action or just one word to be spoken. But even then, the individual must be ready for everything, for the whole, for all that follows, for that which cannot be seen or foreseen. If he were only prepared for one task, he would not be receiving God. For in order to receive him, one must be ready for everything, even for the background that one cannot see and never will see. Nowhere is it so true that if one gives one's word, one must give one's whole self, body and soul. It is hardly ever possible to see from the start that God is to mean one. It is hardly ever possible to see from the start all that God is to mean to one. God asks for, from the start, all that God is to mean to one. God asks for blind confidence. To receive him is not to refuse oneself. Someone who offered a friend in need all the money he had on him would not be much of a friend if he were saying to himself, "Let's hope he won't take too much." He ought to be sorry he has not got more to offer. When God takes everything from a man, it is because he needs everything. To receive God means to give oneself to God, even if our gift only consists in offering him our darkness, so that his light may shine in it. The light itself sets no limits to its radiance. The limit can only be set by the darkness, which receives it. Those who receive the light must be ready to let the light shine through them, without setting any limit to its power. They must be ready to correspond more and more, both to the gifts and to the demands of God's love. With that said, I have to go pee, and we'll do some more reading in a little bit. All right, you're welcome. Thank you. It's a really nice day.